guys, welcome to this acrylic painting lesson. I'm Mike Ferris. In this piece I'm going to go over all the steps involved, as you see here, with all the different color schemes and all of the blending techniques. And again, there's no traceable in this one. This is totally freestyle. You don't have to use the same exact colors, so grab what you got and your brushes and let's jump in. Alrighty, I'm going to be getting started on an 8x10 hardboard canvas here. And again, no traceable image. This is all freestyle again. I don't know, I'm just in the mood for just like freestyle landscape stuff. It's been kind of cool. So on my palette, I'm going to have some phthalo blue, raw umber, burnt umber, permanent red. This is light magenta, cad orange, yellow medium, and titanium white as always. So I'm going to take my 3/4 inch flat brush here. You can use whatever brush you want. I'm going to start in the sky and just do these soft blends. But before I do that, I want to get a little bit of markers here to kind of map out where I'm going to be. I'm just going to take a little bit of yellow and white, a very, very light color. Okay, just on the corner of the brush. And let's see, I want to make my sun not right in the center, because if it's right in the center, I think it does, I don't know, I think it kind of is not, it's not as interesting as when it's moved over a little bit. I think it does something when you move it over off center. So with that, I'm going to go about right here. Okay, see that little dot there? That's about where my sun's going to be. And then I'm going to have down here about, I'm going to say about right here, where the water line's going to be. Okay, I'm going to map that to about right there. And then about halfway between this line and this line, where the water line is, and the bottom here, I'm going to go about halfway, and I'm going to go another line right here again, just to map out where I want stuff. So this is going to be out of focus in this area. And then let's see, up in here, here's another little line you can kind of see just kind of faintly. Most of this area between here and here, most of this, I'd say 3/4 of it, is going to be in focus, and then out of focus, and then there'll be some trees in the foreground here coming down in front that's going to push the background back, and that's going to be in focus as well. So this is another cool lesson on in and out of focus effects, contrasting those with lights and shadows as well, drawing the eye in and making this a really fun painting to look at when it's done. So I'm just going to clean that brush off just a little bit. And I'm not going to have it really dry because I want to do these nice soft blends. And so what I'm going to start off doing is I'm going to take just a little bit of phthalo blue, okay, something like this, and I want to dull that just a hair with some burnt umber, or I'm sorry, raw umber into that. Okay, just kind of something like this. And I want to wipe most of that paint off the brush. I want to get a good scoop of white. And I'm looking for maybe just a little bit more blue than that. Just a very kind of a light sky color here at the very top of the canvas here. Okay, before I start coming down with my really beautiful reds and oranges and all the transitions, okay, from the sun. So I'm going to say something like this. And I'm going to start up here. Okay, just kind of fill this in right up here. Okay, just kind of, as Bob Ross would say, kind of do these X motions, because it leaves these kind of broken up lines instead of hard lines. The hard lines are harder to blend into. These kind of fuzzy broken up lines make it easy to blend into. So I'm going to do that. Okay, just kind of like this. Okay, just light pressure with the brush as I bring it down. I'm just doing this really light kind of deal here. Okay, something kind of like that. And let's see. I want to just kind of brush this out a little bit more. Okay, just kind of like this. Okay, a little bit of a hard line here, but that's okay. I'm just going to take a little bit of white, and watch, I can soften that line so it's not so hard of a transition there. Okay, a little bit more white actually. And see, I can soften that down a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to blend up into that. Okay, so I'm going to clean my brush. I want to leave it a little bit moist. It really helps to blend a little bit better if it's a little moist. Okay, and so what I want to do now is take just a little bit of this light magenta. Okay, just a little bit. And let's get a little yellow into that. Okay, not too much. So let's see, a little bit of white now. And I'm looking for kind of like this. See how that changes the value? It kind of makes it somewhat of a kind of a peachy color that's kind of vibrant in a way. Okay, kind of something like that. And what I want to do is go something like this. Okay, I want to start in front of this blue value here with it. Okay, just kind of like this. And now watch, I just want to come up here and just real lightly just dust that up into that blue value a little bit. Okay, and when I do that, it really gives this nice soft transition. Okay, just kind of like this. Ain't that nice? Okay, just kind of something like that. Barely any pressure with the brush. I'm not bending the bristles a whole lot. I'm just letting it kind of pet the canvas and kind of dust that up into that a little bit. See that? Okay. I want to take it up a little bit more. Okay, something like that. And let's see, I want to get, without cleaning, a little bit more of this magenta. Okay, a little bit of white, just so it desaturates down a little bit. Okay, and I kind of want to add this in between the blue and this more peach value here. I want to get some of this pinkish haze into here with this light magenta. Okay, so just kind of like that. See that? I'm just going to run this over. Okay, something like this. See that? I'm just kind of blending this up. Just making this a nice gradient, nice soft transition here. Okay, something like that. Okay, see, and I kind of have that haze kind of going there. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush. I want to take just a little bit of yellow. Okay, and I want to get a little bit of burnt umber, just a teeny bit, like a pin drop. That's just going to dull that yellow down. Okay, just a little bit, not much. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Let's see, a little bit more. And now what I want to do is wipe that color off and get a lot of white. And let's see, I want this like kind of muted sort of yellow here. Okay, kind of like this. That raw umber just mutes it down a little bit. The white, of course, desaturates and brightens it up. This gives me a more realistic looking value in the sky here with my yellows. Okay, then some cartoony, kind of just plain yellow. That's why I like these other colors. They're like dullers that make that realism look to it in a way. So I'm going to go just right down here. Okay, a nice soft yellow right here. Really soft, real subtle, beautiful little sunset going on here. Okay, and I'm going to run that kind of up just a little bit into that orangey kind of magenta value I got up here. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to take this yellow up into the blue. If I do that, I'll get a green sky. And as Bob Ross would say, chances are that's not what you're looking for. So, a green sky. What planet are you on? All right, this is planet Earth. Last time I checked. And I don't want a green sky. Okay, so I'm just going to run this yellow down. Just down. Just kind of like this. All good. Okay. Just kind of running it off. Okay, just kind of blending it back up here. As paint leaves the brush, it's easier to blend because it's just a little bit of paint left. I can creep it up into those other values very subtly and kind of glaze it up over it, and it gives it that really nice blend to it and that soft look. Okay, nothing's really hard transitions, nothing's really sudden or abrupt. It's a very peaceful, calm, subtle sky here, okay, that I got going on, kind of something like that. And what I'm going to do now is I want to take some titanium white, okay, without cleaning. And let's find my sun again. I want to go, again, not right in the center, but over just a little bit more than center. And I want to go about right here. Okay, I'm just going to kind of give the size and the shape of my sun. So I'm going to do it about quarter size. If I take a quarter and put it up there, that's about how big I want to make my sun here. You make yours as big or small as you want. Okay, so kind of something right there. I'm going to leave that for now as I work down and block everything in. Okay, and I'll come back to that and we'll get some details and all the bright shine and the glow that surrounds all that. What I actually want to do now is I want to take just a little bit of orange, mostly yellow. I want to go back into this value here, and I want to get a little bit of burnt umber to that to dull that orangey value down. Okay, a little bit more orange actually. There we go. Perfect, perfect. See how it's just like a soft muted orange? I'm looking for soft muted colors in this because I'm going to have some really bright, vibrant ones in the water. It's really going to set this off between the soft and the vibrant colors. Not to mention all the in focus and out of focus elements that are also going to contrast. Okay, so this right here, it's a little bit different of an orange peach value as opposed to this. You can see this is more of a magenta. This is more of an orange. This is really what I want here at the base here where the sun is. And I want to just go in here and see, wipe some of that paint off the brush. And I want to surround the sun right here. And the cool thing is, if these values get off or out of whack, I can always add other values and change it and adjust it and cover over. Well, it's all good. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of use the side of the brush and kind of scrub it. Just kind of do this. Okay, see, something like that. So as you can see with layers and acrylics, when you have a layer on bottom and then another layer on top, like I put the yellow down and then that little subtle orange on top, it kind of reacts together with the bottom layer with the one on top to kind of give that final look where you kind of see some yellow, but you also see some orange, and it just kind of gives that realistic look of just kind of how colors play together in real life. And when you got light illuminating and lighting things up, and it really does something. Okay, see something like that? Now I like that. It's more of a, I don't know, the look that I'm looking for here. Okay, I'm gonna run some of this like this, kind of get rid of some of the hard lines. And I'm gonna bring this up just a little bit into that pinkish haze. Okay, see that? And now we got something really going on there. I like that. Okay, I'm gonna live with that. Again, adjust it with other values, cover them up, start again if you're not pleased with what you're seeing. I want to, below the sun, you can kind of see where it's at. I left it open right here, and I'll redefine that in a moment. But I want to block in some general base color for shadow right underneath here where the foliage and the trees are going to be. And with my same brush, I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to take some yellow and I'm going to take some raw umber together into that. Okay, that gives me like a dark, kind of brownish army green. And I want to get some phthalo blue because that's going to give me kind of a jungle green. See that, how that changes it up? Now I have a dark jungle green instead of a dark army brown green. And I'm thinking like this is really kind of what I want. That darker stuff there. And this line here that I mapped out, that's about how far down I want to go with this jungle green color. And I just want to come along and just kind of fill that in right there. Okay. And just kind of bring this up. And let's see. I think I actually want to come in here and add a little bit more orange value into here, just a little bit, but that yellow's still going to show through because, again, values on top of other values play together in the acrylic world like that. It's really cool. Okay, so I'm just going to give it this little rough little deal. Okay, just kind of dab, 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 whatever. I'm gonna take this up and let's see. Just going to kind of bring this over. Okay, just kind of getting this background, kind of foliage in the background here. Okay, covered up. And what I want to do actually now is go a little darker. So I'm going to take some raw umber and phthalo blue. Essentially that makes black, as I've said in videos before. In landscapes, I don't like permanent black, really, because it's not as natural looking as like this dark Payne's gray black between the blue and the brown. And I'd rather have it more natural and realistic looking. So as you can see, a dark value there. And at the base of this, you can see how dark that is now. And I want to get the base because that's going to show a lot thicker shadow as you come down into the thicker bushes away from the sun, and it's going to give that realistic shadow play and all that. So kind of something like that. Okay, I'm going to clean this brush. What now I'm going to do is take some more of this orange value. I can actually make up some more of that. Okay, just a little bit of orange. It'll eat up everything if you let it. And I want to be very sparing on the orange here. Okay, let's get some white to desaturate that down again. There we go. And as you can see, this more vibrant orange is still in my brush. It's not mixed all the way. It's okay. I'm going to get some more white to dull that down or desaturate it even more. Okay, kind of something like that. I want kind of an orangey look in the background as I look through the trees back here. And let's see. I want more of the yellow around the sun and more orange out here, so I'm gonna go, yeah, something like this. There we go. And over here as well. I want to be careful not to go into this wet, dark stuff here that's still drying, or I'll bring that up into this and then I'll have a green. I'll have green in my sky. I don't want green in my sky at all. And look, I'm going to leave this yellow alone right here, like I said, where the sun is. See, that looks a lot better now. It kind of pops that sun out of there a lot more when I have just the yellow around here and more orange out here, because yellow is more vibrant than orange is. Orange is more dull. Yellow is your most brightest, vibrant, warm color you have. And so I want to give that effect. Okay, just like that. I love that. Okay, how about that? And now, kind of doing this. Okay, look at that. Now we're getting kind of a brighter sunset. I'm going to clean this brush now. I'm going to go with this number 2 flat natural bristle brush. These natural bristles and a dry brush, no water. I'm going to get on here now with some of this foliage. I'm going to take it up and continue it up. And it's going to give me these fuzzy lines and all these things in the background that are going to be blurred out. Okay, and the blurred out background is going to really pop against the detailed branches that I'm going to have coming down in front that are going to be in focus. It's going to push that back. It's going to give me depth, and it's going to give me distance in my painting between that. So I'm going to take, again, let's see, this raw umber, this phthalo, or I'm sorry, let me gather myself. Yellow medium, raw umber, a little phthalo blue. There we go. I don't know why I had a hard time getting that out. All right, anyways, I got it out, so it's cool. All right, little white into that. And let's see, I'm going to go something about this value here, maybe a little bit more raw umber into that. That's that darker brown that I have, okay? Yeah, something like that. Just a little bit of paint on the brush. I just want to kind of lay out kind of this general kind of deal here. So I'm going to go something like this. Okay, just kind of a tree back here. Okay, kind of like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let's see, I'm going to have another tree right here. Okay, I'm just laying these out. Okay, I'm going to load some more of that paint on the brush. And what I want to do is kind of do this tapping sort of deal here. I'm going to do this tree stuff here. Okay, it doesn't have to be super perfect, but I want to leave some openings to show the sky through it. Okay, the background, and I'm not going to cover all of it up. Okay, and it's just going to be kind of this deal here where I am kind of doing this. Okay, I'm connecting this, see this? Now we're getting to see it kind of come together a little bit there. Okay, something like that. And you can see with these rough edges here and all those openings, this is what's going to create that out of focus look. And of course, don't worry about how messy it is. Bokeh is not supposed to be clean and nice and pretty and all those things. It's supposed to do, you know, these effects. So when it all comes together, it's going to get better. Okay, more blue, more raw umber. Let's get some more yellow. Okay, again, I want that dark jungle army green, not the brown army green. That's what I add the phthalo blue for, is to get more of that jungle look, the green look instead of the brown look. Okay, and I want to make this a little bit more solid right here, but only in the middle. I don't want to take it out and cover all that fuzzy stuff up. See that? It still looks like it's out of focus. I still got, you know, the outer part fuzzed out. So I'm not going to have it all darkened in. Okay, just kind of something like this. I want the sun to kind of be poking through an area where the foliage kind of separates here, and it's just going to beam right through there and light this up right here where there's going to be some foliage and trees getting lost in the sunlight, and it's going to look super cool and really vibrant that way. So I really want to map this out in a way that is going to let me do that. Okay, just kind of like this. Let's see. We get all right. Now, I think without cleaning, I'm just going to take some more, yellow medium here. Let's get some white. Okay, a little bit more yellow, a little bit more white. Looking for a change up here on the value, and I'm thinking something like this is perfect. And I want to, okay, wipe a lot of that paint off, and I just want to kind of pet the canvas like this. See this? And I'm just kind of brushing it. I'm not tapping it. Usually they say don't tap, or I'm sorry, they say don't brush if you want to get these like really crisp foliage things going. But if you want it out of focus, you do want to brush it, because again, brushing it out means it's out of focus, and that's what I want. Okay, I want to contrast details. Okay, something like this. Let's break it up here. Maybe there's a little bit there, and you know, that kind of stuff there. Okay, a little bit more of that color. I'm going to bring this down because this is right here a tree that's in front of this stuff, and so I want to kind of do this. And I want to leave some openings in here. Okay, kind of like that. See that? Okay, that kind of pushes that back. And now what I want to do is I want to go back to this dark value now. See, no cleaning. I can just go back and adjust my values, add more or less yellow or white, or more of the raw umber. And you can just change your values right here on the palette, and you don't have to clean all the time. If you live somewhere like Arizona or Utah where it's super dry, you might have to clean a little bit more often so your brush doesn't dry out. In Hawaii, it's really wet, and so I don't really have to clean as much. So you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, I'm gonna add some of this dark in here. Okay, this is gonna show some shadow, of course. Not all this tree is being lit up. Some of it's behind other leaves. You see, and this gives it dimension and realism and all those things. Okay, kind of like this. And okay, see, something like that. And now it looks like this is in front of this stuff here. And let's see, I can even add some of this here. I'm gonna go, actually, you know what? I'm gonna take a little yellow and go back into this, because what I'll do is show some light kind of hitting off of here. But again, we're out of focus in this area, so I don't want to do details. I don't want to tap any foliage or make anything crisp. Okay, just kind of something like that. Let's go a little something like this. Okay, little bushes here and there. And also, let's place some of that in here a little bit, maybe. Okay, just here and there. I don't want to cover everything, of course, because then I'll lose all the effects and the shadow, and just all the values that play together is what gives it the 3-dimension and all the look that it does. Okay, so see, I'm just kind of, looks like light's just kind of hitting off of that a little bit, maybe. Okay, let's place some of that in here. Okay, something like that. All right, I'm going to clean this brush now. I'm going to get my 1-inch brush. It's going to help to cover ground really fast and really well on this 8x10 here. And again, it's just base color. I just want to get that in so that I can do the things that I want to do. So I'm going to take some brown. I'm going to take some yellow. Okay, a little bit more brown. And let's see, maybe a little bit of blue. Not much. Blue's really just to darken it a little bit. But I want to keep it more of an army brown kind of a deal. Okay, kind of something like that. And let's see, I'm going to go right in here with that. Boom. So let's get some more brown into that. Let's get some of this in here. Let's get a little bit more of that. Let's fill this in a little bit more. And of course, if it doesn't fill in very well and it's still, you know, cutting through with lines like this, I'm gonna say leave that and let it dry, and you can come in and fill that in and it'll just become more opaque. Okay, these first coats in acrylics are always messy. It's the way it is. It's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so I'm gonna let that ride, and then I'm just gonna take some phthalo blue, a good amount, and I'm gonna take some raw umber into that. Okay, for that really dark Payne's gray. Okay, very, very dark. Okay, just like that. We'll see a value change here in just a moment. See that? So I can go right up here to this. I don't have to leave a line to separate because I can see the value change. Now I have my number 9 natural round bristle brush. Because it's round and because there are natural bristles, I'm going to be able to glaze and blend over some of this foliage here and make it look like it's getting lost into the sunlight here that's coming out. And I'm going to take, again, that orange. Okay, just a little bit. See how that just takes over? It's so vibrant. It's so vibrant, I just don't know what to do anymore with it. It just like heats everything up. Okay, so I'm gonna get some yellow into this and just kind of do something like that. And let me get, again, some burnt umber into that. Okay, just to knock that down and dull it down and all those things. And now I'm going to get a good scoop of white to desaturate that down. So again, it's that nice, soft, really cool orange here. It's kind of an oxymoron because orange is a warm color and I just called it a cool color. It's a cool orange color. No, it's not. It's a warm orange color. But it's a neat color. It's a really soft, muted, really nice touch that gives to this. And I like the way it just kind of settles into this really nice. Okay, so very, very little paint on the brush. I mean, barely any at all. I want to glaze this in. Okay, and I want to be able to still see this foliage. And as you can see, I'm going to kind of take this over it a little bit like this. See this? Okay. Let's see. I want actually a little bit more orange into that. Maybe. Okay. I'm just going to grab some of that orange that's there because, again, orange will eat up everything if I let it. So just a little bit is all I need. I'm just grabbing what's on the outside there. Okay, that's better. See, I get more of an orange look into this. And I just want to glaze over this foliage that I've done here. See that it gets kind of lost into the sunlight there. And I'm going to come down with this onto this dark stuff here. See how these natural bristles, they really give it that natural just kind of shine that's happening onto it. Okay, just kind of like this. And there we go. See how it's getting lost into that? I love that. All right, I'm going to bring this down around this way. These guys are getting lost up here into that a little bit. Super awesome. Getting enveloped into that sunlight. Having this thing just come through with all this light and radiating through and just illuminating like that. So cool. Okay. And of course, if I go too far with it, I can always take this dark background color and just glaze back this way to knock it back. And every time I go back and forth, it's going to get better and more natural looking, and it's going to look really nice and smooth. So I encourage you to really go for it and don't be like, oh my gosh, I went too far. What do I do? All good. Just cover it back. Okay. All it is. That's all it takes. Okay. Okay, something like that. And let me just kind of run this out. Okay. I'll go ahead and get some dark and cover back over that here. And in fact, I can go ahead and do that now. Some of this darker value here. And look, all I got to do is just I can just knock this back. See, just like that. Okay, all good. And of course in here, I can add more shadows and things. Okay, something kind of like that. I'm going to clean this now to get that dark out of there. Key to this brush, again, you want those nice gradients and that nice soft blend with these natural bristles. Gotta have them completely dry. I mean, like all the way. See, I'm going to take a little bit of that yellow again. Let's see, let's get a little yellow. Let's get a little burnt umber to dull that back just a little bit. Okay, again, that's just a duller. And now let's desaturate it with some titanium white to get that nice soft yellow. Okay, see, something like that. Maybe a little yellow, more yellow into it, maybe just a little bit, not much, okay? And again, wiping a lot of that paint off the brush. And I want to go around here. Okay, just like this. Okay, just kind of like that. Okay, and then we're gonna get the sun kind of beaming out of here in just a second here. Okay, and so what I want to do now is I want to establish some beams here coming down. Okay, a little bit of orange and yellow. Okay, titanium white again. Okay, kind of something like that. Little paint on the brush again. And I want to kind of do this. See that little sun ray there? Okay, I also want one that's gonna go out like this. Okay, a little bit heavier. Okay, so I can get that effect. And let's see, a little bit, maybe another little one like right here. Okay, something like that. I like that. Okay, and I'm just gonna sort of glaze again over this just to kind of bring it down and kind of do this. Okay, just over what I've done a little bit. Okay, now without cleaning, what I want to do now is I want to take titanium white, and the reason I didn't clean was because I don't want to go pure white all at once or I'll lose this glow. I want to keep these colors alive even as I go white into here. And so watch, where I want it the brightest and the heaviest. Very little pressure with the brush. And I'm just gonna take this and just kind of do this number here. Okay, very little pressure with the brush. I'm just kind of placing it in, just kind of doing this. I'm just gonna take and just go just into some of this. I don't want to go to the whole, through the whole beam with this white, but just like right here. Look at that. Okay, something like that. Isn't that nice? And now you can see all the foliage. It's getting lit up. Just this illumination happening. It's super rad. I love this. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to take a little bit more of this yellow. Okay, that dulled yellow. It's a little touch of the burnt umber into it, and then white to desaturate it up. And I want to go around just kind of like this. Okay, just getting some of that in here. Okay, something like that. All right, and then once again, let's see, just some of that orange, some of that yellow, some of that white. Okay, just kind of this yellowish orangey color here. And let's see, I think I want to go just a little bit more orange. Okay, into some of this. Okay, so it's a little bit more vibrant this time. And that's cool because, again, a little bit of paint on the brush. And I want to go on the outsides here, like this. And just kind of go over some of these sun rays, just very lightly. Again, just a teeny bit of paint because I don't want to lose these sun rays that I did. I just want to glaze over them and just kind of hint some of this orangey value into it. Because as the orange comes in, and then the yellow comes in, and then the white in the very center, that's what's going to make that illuminate super well out of there when you have these colors playing in that array, kind of in that kind of order. You want the white, then the yellow, then the orange. And that's going to give your really bright illuminating look to it. Okay, see something like this. Bam, how about that? Okay, loving it. Before I proceed, I want to take a little bit of this dark background in the foliage here, and I want to glaze up into some of this just a little bit to settle it back in between these sun rays. It's going to give more of a natural look, I think. So let me just go some raw umber, a little bit of blue, okay, some yellow. Okay, something kind of dark. Very, very, very little paint on the brush. Again, this is my number 9 natural round bristle brush. And just going to kind of pet this in. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, just kind of like this. It just kind of settles that glow down just a little bit, makes it a little bit more natural. Like I said, I think it just kind of does something there a little bit. Okay, I can even knock back some of this ray down here a little. Just kind of thin this out, maybe. Okay, I like that. Okay, just kind of something like that. I like that. Okay, that's good. And now I want to clean this brush just a little bit. And of course I want to dry this off all the way. And now I just want to take just a little bit of white, just a teeny bit. I want to go back in here. Okay, see, just like that. Okay. And again, I want to scratch in just a little bit into some of these rays. Just a bit. Okay, something like that. Okay. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to clean this brush again. Okay, now I have my number 7 natural flat bristle brush. Again, these natural bristles are going to make it easy to do these out of focus things and get some stuff going here on the water. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to take a little bit of blue and raw umber, and I want to get some titanium white. Okay, something like this. Let's get a little bit more white into this. Okay, kind of something like this. Okay, very little paint on the brush again, and I'm gonna go right along here. This is gonna be the start of some water here, and let's see, I'm gonna just kind of leave this dark area here in between the foliage and this blue value here that I got going. And I'm gonna sort of run this off. Okay, just kind of something like this. Just kind of over here. And I want to take just a little bit more white. Okay, just a little paint on the brush, not much. I can always add more paint. And then right in here, I'm gonna make these little bokeh things here. Just gonna make a little light right there. Maybe, I don't know, the start of some blurred out stuff here in the background. Okay, maybe a little bit right here. I want to take some orange and let's get some of this magenta. into that, okay? Kind of like this. Look at how vibrant that makes that orange. It's almost like a neon, okay? And let's get a little yellow into that. Just kind of something like that. And now I want to get just a little tiny titanium white. Okay, it's almost like a fluorescent pink. Okay. And again, very, very little paint on the brush. And what I want to do is, right in line with this sun, I want to start making these little things here. So I'm gonna kind of do this right here, and it's not going to show up as well against the dark at first, but I'll build up layers. Okay, let's get a little bit more of that on there actually. Let's see what we can do with this. There we go. And actually I want it more saturated, so I'm going to add some more of this magenta and some of that orange. Okay, let's see what I get now. Yeah, there we go. That's great. That's totally what I want right there. Okay, and I'm gonna leave, of course, some openings, just kind of tapping it. Okay. Okay, these little taps here, they kind of show some breakings or some, light kisses on the water. Okay, a little bit like that. Okay, just kind of having those fade off over there. Of course, I want it really lit up right in this area. And let's see, what I want to do actually now is I want to get a good amount of water on it, because here's something I want to do now. I want to take again this, scoop it up on it, and these bristle brushes kind of want to go like this. Okay, I want to do this little spray in here just a little bit, because that's going to show some glimmering highlights, some little things here. Okay, and all right, just kind of doing these kind of things here. See this? What I'd like to do is take some more of this, even though it is pretty wet, I can still use it, and just a little bit of paint on the brush. Kind of want to just sort of glaze over just some of this. Actually, let's get a little bit more color here. I want it more saturated. Okay, a little bit more of that magenta into that orange. Okay, fiery. I just love the fire and how this really starts to look here. Okay, especially right here where the sun's really hitting it. You can see right there, just really making that glow. Okay, let's do this. Okay, see that? It's kind of starting to happen now. Yeah, just a little bit there. Okay, just kind of getting these little water ripples here, just kind of doing this little rocking horse kind of movement, but just very subtly, not like super dramatic or anything. Okay, just kind of something like that. All right, isn't that nice? It's just, we're gonna start getting the water hit now. Just take some of this white, some yellow, just a little bit of burnt umber to that, just a teeny bit. Okay, again, that dulls that down. Okay, and I want to wipe a lot of that paint off the brush. And I just kind of want to do something. Let's see, let's get a little orange onto that. Okay. Something kind of like this. And again, I want to get some water on this. I want to flick this again and get some of these little water spots here, these little light plays. Okay. And just want to calculate it pretty good. And anything that I don't like that's somewhere, I can just take a value, of course, cover it up. Not a big deal. Okay, but I'm going close to the canvas, because if I go back here, it's going to go all over. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to sort of do something like this. See that? And that gives these nice little things on there. Okay, I'm going to clean that brush off now. I'm going to go to my number 4 nylon flat brush. I'm going to start going in here with some things. Okay, getting really bright with stuff. So I want to go a little yellow. Let's get some orange into that. Okay, and let's get some white, just a little bit of white. Okay, maybe a little bit more orange. I want to go pretty vibrant on this. All right, and I want to kind of go like this. This is going to be an in focus right here, more of a deal here. So let's see, I want to go, actually, let's get some more yellow. Okay. It's an experiment. It's a lab. It's, you know, see what you get with your colors. Because again, you can always adjust them. The beauty of acrylics. You can always, always, always adjust them. All good. Okay. A little bit of yellow in that orange. It makes the orange a little bit more vibrant, which is what I want to do here. And I want to kind of glaze in right here. Some of this back up in here just a little bit. See, I'm kind of blending it that way a little bit. And then I want to kind of take this down. Okay, I'm just going to map this out for now. Okay, just a little bit. Take this right down in here. Okay, just kind of doing these little things here. Okay, now let's see, I want to clean this brush. Okay, and so what I'd like to do now is I've got some violet here that I've added to my palette. I want to take a little bit of that and I want to mix it with some of this magenta, light magenta, I should say. Okay, a little bit of white. And let's go a little bit of raw umber in there just to dull it back just a hair. Okay, so it's kind of like this. That's perfect. That's what I want right there. A nice soft kind of lavender with a little magenta and raw umber to dull that. Okay, just like that. And I want to come in here and start to kind of add these little things in. Okay, so just kind of do something like this. And I'll adjust some of these. I'll go in there with other values and place some of it on top of these lavender values, but I'm not going to cover them all up, of course. Okay, I don't want to lose my effects here. Okay, and also I want to change up the values along the way. Like I'm going to add a little bit more of this magenta into it. Okay, kind of like this. You can see a little bit different here between these two. Because, again, it's all about differences that are playing in here. Okay, see how that's just slightly different? It just shows like light play and how the colors kind of vary a little bit here and there as light hits them. All right, now let's get a little bit of white. Okay, I want to desaturate that down, make it a little lighter. And let's go on here and just kind of brighten some of this up. Okay, I think I'm going to go a little red into that actually, because I want to get more of a pinkish hue into that and kind of leave out the lavender a little bit here. Just kind of wanted the lavender, I think, for a base color, and I can put this kind of on top of some places. Okay, so this is more, there we go. And I want to go a little bit smaller up here, of course, to make it look like distance. Alrighty, I'm going to clean this brush now. I'm going to use this same brush here. Okay, and I'm going to take some of this yellow, again, a little bit of the burnt umber to it, just to dull it a bit. Okay, titanium white, that nice soft yellow. Okay, something like that, maybe a little bit more yellow into it. Not much, okay, kind of something like that. And sort of want to make a little playing field here with some of this yellow in here. Okay, kind of like this. And just kind of want to blend this out. Okay, something like that. Now, without cleaning, I'm going to take a little yellow, or I'm sorry, orange to that, a little bit more yellow to that. Let's get, again, some titanium white to soften that down. Okay, I really want this nice orangey look here. Okay, something like that. A real nice peach orangey color. And I want to go on the outside of the yellow here and just kind of, let's see, just kind of glaze it, just kind of add it in, kind of blend it into some of that yellow. Okay, something like this. Okay, see, now it's starting to get that nice light to it now. All right, and now without cleaning, I want to take some titanium white and right in here, I want to do with the corner of the brush just some of these little bokeh light kisses here. See this? Something like this. Okay, something in the background here that's really coming out. Something that's coming alive here. Okay, these little light rays here. kind of doing these little circle things down here. Now I'm going to go back to that yellow and orange. Okay, something like that. And again, I want to go okay, something like that. See that? Just kind of going over that with that value. Okay, I'm going to clean this brush again. Now I'm just going to go just titanium white. I'm going to go right in the middle of all this. And of course, again, so this is a back and forth thing, as you can see, just building it up. Okay, a little bit more orange and yellow into that. Okay, not much, just a little bit. And once again. I want to make this a little bit more dramatic where the sun's first hitting it in the back here. So more of that light magenta and orange. Okay, that really vibrant, almost neon-like orange is kind of what it makes here. And another coat, and you can see how that really lights this up back here. Okay, look at that. Boom, it just does something really spectacular. Okay, awesome. I like how that brings that in. You want to bring it down just a little bit more. Just kind of fading that off a little bit. See that? Okay. Alright, something like that. Now I've got my number 3 nylon round brush. It's got a nice tip on it. What I want to do now is I want to take some white and I want to go back into this color here with the magenta and the orange. Light magenta, I should say. Sorry, magenta's bright red, light magenta's this pinkish color. Yeah, I don't want to steer you wrong. Okay, I'm pulling it through and turning it. That brings it to a nice sharp tip. And I just want to go in here and actually, let's get a little bit more white. I want that to show up a little bit better. Okay. Okay, see, and I can just tap it like that with the tip of this thing. Okay. Okay, boom. Very nice. Okay, a little bit more white with a little bit of that color left in. And okay, I think that does something. It does something. All right, now I'm gonna clean that brush off. Okay, and now I wanna go back into some white and some of this yellow here. Pulling through as I turn it to a point, and I want to kind of doing that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clean that off again. And I want to go back in here. And notice I'm not taking over all this color. See this little dot in the middle? I want to leave those outer colors alone. Okay, just like that. I want this to really vamp up and take off in such a profound, magnificent way. And let's see, I want to just keep it right in the middle. And again, I want to take some of that yellow. Okay. And let's take a little orange actually into that. Okay, something really light. Okay, pulling it through as I turn it to a point, and again, I want to go just kind of on the outside of the white here. See that? And you get these colors playing together. They build up, they do stuff. Yeah, just playing them back and forth. Building this up, making it pretty. Real pretty like, okay? And so, there we go. Okay, just kind of like that. All right, just like that, kind of bringing it together. Okay, no cleaning. I'm going to take again just titanium white straight up and back to my number 4 nylon flat brush here. I'm just going to take just a little white and let's see, just a little magenta, not much. Okay, mostly white. I want to get a little red into that actually because I want a pinkish hue. Okay, let's get more white. Okay, wiping a lot of that color off because I want more white. Okay, I just want to brighten up some stuff and give some highlight here to some of this. So like some of this. Just a little bit, not all of it. I'm going to take some, my nylon script liner brush here. I'm going to get lots of water on it. And I'm going to go back into that light magenta, kind of white. Okay, a lot of water. Okay, pulling through as I turn it. Let's get some detailed stuff here. I just kind of want to go in here a little bit and just kind of do something like this, maybe. Okay, just these little ripply doos. All right, now back to my number 4 nylon flat brush here. I just kind of want to get, let's see, a little yellow, a little of this magenta. Let's get some some white. Okay, something like that. I just kind of want to do something like this. I'm going to go ahead and continue to use this brush because I can do out of focus stuff with this still. And with that, I'm going to take some phthalo blue, just a little bit of raw umber to dull that back. And now I'm going to get some titanium white. Let's get a good scoop of white here. Okay. I mean, I'm going to get some cool stuff going here. Okay. Okay, just kind of something like this. Just kind of mixing this up with this brush. Not really too concerned here with it. Okay, let's go. Yeah, I think I'm looking for something like this. Okay. And what I want to do now is come in here and spray a little paint on the brush. I'm just going to sort of brush this out like this. See that I can create those fuzziness, that fuzzy line stuff. Okay. A very dry brush. All right, just like that. I'm gonna have some of that up here. Actually, maybe one more up here, a little bit smaller because it's further away. Okay, again. Okay, and okay, something like that. This is going to be all out of focus here. Okay, and now without cleaning, I'm going to take some titanium white and I'm just going to apply that on just some of these, you know, not covering up the whole thing. Okay, see that? And it's going to ramp up the bokeh, that out of focus look. Okay, just kind of like this. See the light's just kind of bouncing off everywhere. I'm going to take my palette knife. I'm going to take some orange. I'm going to take some of this light magenta. Okay, just like that. I'm going to take a little bit of burnt umber just to dull that just a bit. Okay. And I'm going to take some white. Maybe a little bit of yellow to it also. Let's see what I get when I do this. Let's see if I like that. Okay, just looking for a general orange value here. I'm gonna go with this. Okay, I can always adjust it if I don't like it. You can do anything you want in the acrylic world. It's all good. And now I'm gonna take my number 8 natural round bristle brush here. The round brush is gonna help to do these nice little bokeh things. So I'm just gonna take just a little bit of the paint on the tip of the brush here and just gonna start doing this. Okay, just all these little things here. Okay, these little water kisses here. Yeah, I want it to continue down like that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush. And now what I have here is my number 2 nylon flat brush. I'm going to get into small areas here and really start detailing some things up. So with that, I'm going to take a little yellow, a little bit of this light magenta to it. Okay, and I'm going to get some titanium white. Okay, just kind of something like this. And I'm going to go in here with this kind of lighter, more vibrant color, and I'm just going to sort of do something like that. See that? How that like takes that off? Really does something there, ramps it up. Okay, and I'm going to go kind of like this, just kind of run this up into here just a little bit, and just kind of do this. Okay, more titanium white. And let's go, let's see. I want to do a really bright one right here. Kind of something like that. Alrighty, now I'm just going to get a little bit of this magenta without any orange in it. Light magenta here. Let's see, maybe a teeny bit of that orange actually. And there we go. Something like that. And I kind of want to surround, let's see, some of this right here. Let's see, let's get a little bit more of that magenta, light magenta in there. Okay. Now, what I want to do, I want to take some more of that orange. I want to take some of that white. Okay. And I just want to kind of keep going on these a little bit, kind of brighten some of these up. Okay, something like that. And actually, What I want to do now is take some of this orange again and some of that magenta for that vibrant orange. Okay, because watch. I want to go around some of this like this. See this? I just want to get that vibrant kind of look here going. Okay, kind of something like that. I want to add some of this in. Okay, just here and there, not everywhere. I don't want to kill everything with this. It's all about the colors playing together. Everybody involved here making this beautiful symphony of colors to make it come and pop off the way it should. Off of everything, contrasting with one another and giving it this really vibrant appeal. Okay, really inviting water here. I really want to make this excellent. Super epic. All right. Just a little bit more blue. Okay, there's a little bit of blue into that because there's some of that in that white value there. And let's see. Let's try that again. Okay, a little bit more white. And again, I just want to brighten up some of these highlights here. Okay, cleaning that brush. And now what I want to do is take a little bit again of that magenta, the light magenta there. Okay, a little bit of white. And very little paint on the brush. Again, this is my number 2 nylon flat brush. And I just want to come in here again. Okay, and just kind of do something like this around some of this. Okay, just titanium white now with my number 2 flat brush. Okay, just loading a little bit of it up. And again, get this extra super bright in here. All right, I'm gonna go again to this. I'm gonna add a little yellow now to that. Quite a bit actually. And let's go a little white into that. Okay. Just a little bit of that. And okay, look, just glazing that color in. I'm not really doing much. All right, and also, again, I just want to glaze out around this kind of right here. Just titanium white. I'm going to take my script liner brush again, and I want to make some detailed stuff here in the foreground that looks like the tree is on my side of the lake as I'm looking out, and it's going to give distance and depth and push everything back and give it more distance in that way. So I'm going to take some yellow and I'm going to take some raw umber. Okay, maybe a little orange to that too. Okay, I'm going to kind of dark, but not like, yeah, there we go. That's perfect. All right, this is what I want. Okay, I'm gonna pull it through. I want a lot of water. You want a lot of water on this script liner brush. Very important to have a lot of water. Okay, pulling through as I turn it. Brings it to a nice sharp loaded tip there. And I'm going to kind of do, and the harder I push, watch, the fatter the line, of course, and then it's going to do something kind of like that. Can you see that? I want a little bit fatter up here. Okay, and then I'll just thin it out with just the tip there, okay? That's the start of one branch there. Okay, I'm going to load up again. And let's see, I'm going to come down over here. Kind of do that, okay? Okay, so kind of, however, I don't want to cover up the whole sun here. I just kind of want to get just a few things here. Okay, let me get that tip on there really well. Okay, a very thin one there, maybe. Okay, back to my number 3 nylon round brush again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to make some of these leaves here. So I'm going to get a little water on that. And I'm going to take again some of that yellow again. Only this time I'm going to go something like this. Okay, almost the same color as the branch, but let me get a little bit more white into that actually. A little bit more white and yellow. There we go. Okay, so it's kind of a golden, kind of a brown in a way. Got that gold color in it. Okay. And I'm going to use this, and it's going to really help me to do all of these nice leaves here. Okay, just however. You can just brush them in too. It's all good. Okay, I'm going to change the value a little bit. I'm going to take a little orange into that. Okay. Just a little bit. I'm going to take that greeny golden brown color again. And it just changes up the value a little bit. I'm going to get a little white just so it shows up a little bit more. There we go. See that? Okay, pulling through as I turn it to a point. You always want these value changes and everything playing together. You don't want everything the same, or it just won't do, what it should. Okay, now when it comes to the sun, I want to get something darker because I want to make this contrast. So I'm going to go back into raw umber, okay, because I want to go like this. I want to pop these off against that sky. What I'd like to do is I want to take some white and some of this yellow, kind of goldy brown color here, and pulling it through again. Let's see, a little bit more white into that. Okay, and so I want to go on some of these here. Okay, and really pick out some really bright highlighted leaves here where the sun's really shining through it. See that? It's just really illuminating. And of course, I'm not going to do everything. I'm going to leave some dark in there because that's going to give it all the dimension and all the pop effect and everything. Okay, so see, like over here, maybe, you know. Okay, see, like that. And let's see, maybe some. So I want to contrast this. I want to get more light highlights on the leaves where it's over in the darker areas, and then of course leave it more dark over here where it's in the sun, okay, as it would be in real life. That's really how I want to make that pop effect. Okay, like over here a little bit. I just want to take some blue and raw umber together again to make that very dark color, the darkest color in this whole piece. Okay, pulling it through as I turn it to a point, because what I want to do now is I want to go in here and just kind of create some of this stuff here that I can kind of, you know, break it up a little bit, show some texture and some leaf details maybe a little bit. Yeah, like that. See that? Okay. Some of it's really dark, some of it's really light. Okay. However, kind of breaking that up like that, okay? And then of course over here, I want to get more dark to really contrast against this bright sun here, okay? Okay, something kind of like that. I think I'm going to leave just some of it like this, okay? Okay, so something like that. I'm going to take my script liner brush now with lots of water, and I'm going to go into some titanium white here, pulling through as I turn it to a point. And let's see, I think I'm going to sign right here. And once again, I want to thank you so much for following along. Let me know down in the comments how this went. I hope this was very clear, that you were able to pull this off. Any questions you have, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer anything, and we can go over whatever you'd like. And I'd love to see your work. If you'd like to post it on my Facebook page at the Acrylic Asylum, that would be great. And I would love to see how your results went. And if you're new, do me a favor and subscribe if you haven't, if you dig these art lessons and my work. That really helps me to keep putting these videos out. And thank you to all of you that have subscribed, and to those that will, and everybody else that is following along and watching. I appreciate you so much. So with that said, guys, I want to wish you well and thank you again, and happy painting to you.